It's Corrine Bigden here, House Flip Forum. Okay, who will be doing the renovations? You have a few choices here. Some people do a DIY because they have tons of experience in construction and they figure why not do as much as possible themselves since they've got the know-how, they've got the tools, and it will save them tons of money. So that's one version. Another one is hiring trades or a contractor to do the work. If you hire a contractor, then he might oversee all of the trades that are doing the work and bring in all the people. You don't have to worry about finding them. That's probably one of your most expensive options. So it'll really cut into your profit margins. But if you look around and you know people who are going to give you a great deal and it's worth it, then why not go ahead that direction? Another one is maybe a combination. Maybe you're doing as much as you can yourself and hiring trades to do those things that you're just not really aware of how to do. So you could learn along the way too, and maybe do more and more of those things yourself as you progress. Now, working on your own, are you going to work on your own or are you going to be working on a team? Do you have a partner that you're doing this flip with, or do you just want to do it all by yourself? Maybe you've got a team of people that you've already put together and you're deciding who's going to do what. The other question is it a live-in renovation or off-site? Do you have your own home and you're deciding that this is the safest and easiest way to do your first flip? So you've decided you're just going to live in the property, renovate it as you're living in it, and then sell it. Or maybe it's an off-site property that you're going to be doing elsewhere. Another thing to consider, do you have kids or a job that you're also trying to manage with your flipping? Do you think that you're going to have the time to put in every day that's required to do it quickly? Or is this going to be a long process that you're going to do slowly just so you have time to put into your family or put into your job? You may also find that kids in your home while you're working on your own home as your flip is going to obviously slow you down because it's hard to be working in a construction site while you're also trying to have your kids living in the same property. So all of these things are huge factors in how your renovations are going to happen, how quickly, how much they're going to cost, and what are the ongoing costs. If it's offsite property, it's obviously going to be more rather than just within your own home. You have to pay those utilities and taxes and mortgage costs anyway, so it's not that added cost with a different property that you're working on. So all of these are the biggest factors to determine the speed and the cost of your renovation. Keep in mind that you can learn new skills as you go along, as I mentioned earlier, and that will probably help you in your future flips to make sure that you can actually work on them a little faster or maybe save some money because you're doing your own work. I'm going to put together a worksheet. It's going to be the brainstorm skills I will add on to this episode. So you can download that worksheet. Just try and figure out and brainstorm what are the skills you do have already that you can put into play in your flip and save some money from hiring somebody else. You may not even realize that you've got as many skills as you do. Have you painted before? Do you have a little bit of a design flair? Do you have an ability to budget really well? Or are you really good at negotiating prices? You know, there's all these different things that will help you save money along the way. And even if you're really good on social media, that's a great place to get started on finding those really great deals with appliances, with maybe some materials that are left over from another job site. If you don't need many tiles for a floor in a bathroom or something, that you might be able to find some stuff there. Or even finding the people that are going to help you work on this property. So that brings us to the next question, hiring new people to help you out. Where do you find your team? So I found that when I started my first flip, I did a lot of work myself. I found something that was just mostly easier cosmetic work. And that was the first flip, a very inexpensive home where I ended up putting in a lot of time and effort on paint, and more paint, new hardware, cleaning it up really nice, and just really sprucing it up and adding some nice furniture in. So that was a pretty quick flip, and it was mostly cosmetics. So there wasn't really a lot that needed to be done. I could do most of it myself. I learned how to do tile. And then that way I could put it on the market rather quickly because it didn't take as long. Now, the profits aren't necessarily as high, but you have less risk. You have a decent profit for your first flip because you're not paying somebody else to do the work. So that was where I did learn to do some new things. But as you start progressing and you do bigger flips and more work, then you're going to need to hire somebody to do those certain things that you just can't do. So I went actually into just the local newspaper that just came to the neighborhood, and I checked the want ads, and I looked for people who were painters, electricians. There's a lot of people out there that are really knowledgeable and they've done a lot of work in the industry, but maybe they're starting out on their own now and they're just trying to get their business going. So they're actually quite knowledgeable, skilled, but still have good rates. And then there are people who are just retired and wanting to do a side job of painting or something. So you can find a lot of people in the want ads. Now, if that's not really your thing, then obviously asking around friends, family, neighbors, who do they use? Who do they know? That's one of your best resources. And at least you know that they've used them before. So they're trustworthy. You have somebody kind of backing them up and giving them a reference. And then there's, of course, Craigslist, there's Kijiji, there's Facebook Marketplace. There's all these sorts of things that you're going to be starting up. You start looking for people by joining groups within the neighborhood or some sort of home improvement groups in your neighborhood. You're going to get a lot of resources out of that. And my dad, actually, he was in construction, and how would he find people? Quite often he would be driving past construction sites, stop, talk to the people on site to find out who did what and who's got time to do extra jobs on the side. And he really found a lot of great trades that way. But I think you're going to find that with networking groups, local suppliers, even for flooring and such, they often have names of people that you can call up and see if they have the time to install the flooring. So, or do the windows. But wherever you're buying the materials, quite often they'll have people that they can refer you to as well. So those are great places to start. Build your team, interview people, get their references, do drive-bys on work that they've done before in the past, get all of your ducks in a row, because this is where a lot of people feel like they've really been had because somebody swindled them, scammed them, all these sorts of things that you hear about. Do your research, learn to talk to a few people before you just go ahead with the first person you find. But getting those references from the actual material providers, the suppliers, and the friends and family is a great place to start. That's it. So who will be doing the renovations? This is a big part of you figuring out what your skills are, who you're working with, and how to find your team. Anyway, let's get your worksheet, download it, and make sure that you get those points put down on where your strengths are. And let's move on to the next episode.